Hey, hey, hey. It is Friday, October 3rd, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon. This is Success Never Sleeps, where we, as a collective of small business owners, in particular martial arts school owners, we're just trying to figure out this thing called life, right? We want to create businesses that sustain us, our team, our families. We want to grow our retirement. We want to truly own a business versus it owning us, and that requires a certain skill set. So together we just figure this thing uh, called life. Today it's going to be all about rotating curriculum. And I know that's such a controversial subject in our industry. And some people get it, some people refuse to get it, some people don't get it. I don't believe there's a right or wrong. If you find the value in it and you make a commitment to it, today I'll be sharing with you about rotating curriculum 8.0. Right? I mean, once I got it, it only took 40 years, but once I understood the value of it, I just went all in. And I continue to refine and refine it and refine it. And that's why I'm currently on our version is rotating curriculum 8.0. But before we get into that, let's thank our sponsors. We have Tusaw, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All companies I work with, all companies I believe in, and I would recommend to anybody at least schedule a discovery call, at least look at their websites and see if it can benefit helping you achieve your version of success. So we have less than 6 weeks to go for It's Time Life Freedom. I'm very excited. People are starting to book their hotels, their airfares, reserving their spots. Only 20 school owners for 4 days. We have a 1 day and a 2 day. So if that fits you better, then you're welcome to come to that as well. But for a moment, just visualize with me, right? Saturday, you come in and watch classes and experience firsthand in a real-time experience how we generate close to $2 million a year between two locations. I'll be there narrating, and so you get a blow-by-blow from me. After that, we'll have a debriefing. We'll sit down and do a Q&A, followed by 3 hours of training on the mat. This year, we're going to do it a little different. My team is going to facilitate it. Why? Because it's all about freedom. And it's because of this team, I work 1 day a week in the school. And the rest of the time, I spend with my family and cultivating other projects that I'm very passionate about. And then Sunday, we start off enrollment, retention, renewal, the 3 R's, for the lack of a better expression, the 3 R's. And I'm going to go deep on enrolling, retaining, and renewing your students. Then we also have Adam Lodi, cutting edge from Kin Creative, the CEO and founder, to take us through what? Digital media. And then my team, the It's Time Group Mentoring, a TED Talk style environment where you rotate from roundtable to roundtable to roundtable, learning about marketing, rotating curriculum, and developing staff. Monday, it's all about you, personal development. We do meditative hikes and walks, and everything's outdoors, and journaling and mind mapping and vision questing. And we spend this time together really discovering who we are, why we're stuck, renewing a commitment to ourselves, getting unstuck. So it's all about you. And of course, Tuesday is going to be about wealth building, starting the day with Sam on. Why? Because if I make money and I don't do anything with it and create that passive income, then I'm surely to spend it on potentially things that aren't going to support me, right? As I grow my retirement and grow my personal wealth. Followed by Benihana's, the legendary Benihana's. We'll hang out in Benihana's and see the parallels between a great restaurant and how it compares to our martial arts school. Then we go into finding accountability partners and strategizing, what you've learned over 3 days. And then that night, you're going to present to us as we enjoy pizza and my wife's chocolate chip cookies. We're going to strategize, and you're going to present to us TED Talk style of what you're going to do. Accountability, actionable steps, I think really seals the deal. How often have we gone to 2-day experiences somewhere in Vegas or whatever and have a bunch of great notes, go home and do nothing? So this is kind of like to help give you that inertia. But I think as I was really thinking about what makes this event so special is that the content is cohesive, right? I go to these events and there's all these different speakers with different ideas and different thoughts processes, but none of them connect the dots. Over 4 days, you're going to get a consistent theme of freedom, consistent material that collectively can all work together to help you create the freedom you deserve. So Marco will put the link in there. You need to get signed up now, right now. Be one of the 20 people joining us, and the experience for you over 4 days will be unlike anything out there, and it's worth every cent that you invest. Cool. So what is it all about today, Marco? Man, we're going to get into rotating curriculum. Now, for everybody that's here, I need to know you're here because if you are here, I'm giving you my e-learning product, Rotating Curriculum 8.0. But that's the big thing. You know, I did that yesterday in Kin Creative. You need to be here. You need to show up, right? You need to be accounted for. And somebody hit me up after going, well, I wasn't able to make it. Can I have the link to the? It's like, dude, you're missing the point. The point is that I'm getting you to create a new habit. Be an action taker, right? Be an action taker. You got to suit up and show up and participate in this thing called life without excuses, right? Without excuse. Someone said, well, I need to make more time for personal development. No, you can't make time. You can't make time. You can't buy time. It doesn't work that way. You go through a discipline, practice, and habit of what? Putting it in your Google Calendar. You replace that personal development time, right? From what were you doing? Watching Games of Thrones reruns? What were you doing? Sitting on your PS5 or in some group playing Halo? Come on, be realistic about this. So again, I think like Sam said to me, and Sam will be there. And I think the great thing about Sam being at the Freedom event, he's going to give you 30 minutes of his own time in a one-on-one session together in a discovery call. And I think that's valuable because what Sam and I both understand, my version of wealth may not be your version of wealth, maybe not be someone else's version of wealth. So he really helps you hone down on that. And I believe Sam's a great listener with that. So I just want you to be mindful of that today. So if you are here, plug it in, tell me that you're here, and that will help tremendously. So what are we discussing today? Rotating curriculum. Now, I shunned rotating curriculum because everything I saw about it was this. It was designed for one person to make more money. It wasn't about the quality of the student. It wasn't about producing better martial artists. Simply centered around one guy could teach more. Hey, what's up? Tina, what's happening, Tina? How are you? How are you? How are you? So Tina's going to get the link for that. We're going to, Marco will take down your names and we're going to send you a direct link. I've actually got that now, Marco. So if you guys, let me make sure I do that before I forget. I'm going to send Marco this link and Marco's going to get this to you right away because you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Right? Super excited for you to have this. As we share it, it is version 8.0. Again, you being present on this is super important to me because it shows you are an action taker. Marco, I just sent you the link and you can get it to everybody who's here. I don't want to post it publicly because somebody who's watching this after the fact, it defeats the purpose. Michelle at Legacy Martial Arts in New Mexico. Welcome, welcome. All right. So rotating curriculum to me just left a bad taste in my mouth. Now, the reason I never got it for the first 40 years of my martial arts life, it was very, very simple, right? Yellow belt curriculum was easy. Orange belt curriculum was harder. Purple belt was even harder. So how could you have a yellow belt, an orange belt, and a purple belt in class? You couldn't, right? Because the curriculum was either too hard for the yellow belt or really boring for this purple belt. So that's why that needed to change, okay? That needed to change. So imagine for a moment, and you could challenge me on this. What do you think? Michelle, do you think somebody that's been training in the martial arts for 12 months is that far away from somebody who's been training in the martial arts for 9 months? No. How about 12 months to 6 months? Not really, right? So the big thing was designing a curriculum. That's why I don't think you can do curriculum 3 years apart, but you could do a year's worth of curriculum, right? Say month. They come in as a white belt, they earn a yellow belt in 2 months, 3 months. So month 3 through month 12, right? Hypothetically, 1 year of curriculum. It's all designed so whether you are a purple belt, it's challenging and acceptable. If you are a yellow belt, it's challenging and acceptable. If you're an orange belt, it's challenging and it's acceptable. That was the big mindset shift for me because I never understood that. I always saw curriculum as this stepping, it getting harder, harder, and harder instead of building upon itself. Okay? So stay with me. It's got to build upon itself. Conrad, congratulations on the move for Respect Martial Arts. to another location. And if I can say it, he's getting married. Yay, Conrad. So happy for you, my brother. I still remember our first talk in Cozumel together. It was just heartfelt, and it stays with me to this day. Absolutely, Conrad. So that was the big mindset shift, because up to that point, it was me rotating. I would go over here and work with the yellow belts, move over here, work with the orange belts, move over here, work with the purple belts. And I rotated that way. What I saw, though, number one, each group was left alone for a period of time. Now, once I grew and I had an instructor staff, I would put a junior instructor, junior instructor, junior instructor. I'd come over, teach, 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 drill them, teach, 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 drill them, teach, 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 and drill them. So I had 3 guys doing the drilling, but that still was not, efficient enough. That was not the high level quality experience I wanted to deliver, where we could charge a premium dollar. Right now, I think we're at $269 a month for twice a week, which is pretty substantial. You would agree, right? So, with that said, stay with me. Once I got that, then it sat about, okay, what curriculum can we design and how to design it? All right. Marco, do I have the ability to share my screen? I think I do, right? So I'm going to pull something up for you guys since you're with me today and we're kind of on the fly. I feel the need to do this. My commitment to you and my commitment to understanding the value of what we do is unparalleled to anything that I teach and what I do. Why? Because I understand unequivocally that what we do on the mat is where we generate the most revenue. Would you agree? Who agrees with me on that? We all do. So for me, my commitment to that is unequaled. Unequaled. Okay? It's unequaled. So I'm amazed how much money we spend on things like marketing and other things that we spend so little on our curriculum. So here we go. Oh, where is it? Choose what you want to share with StreamYard. Window, entire screen. How about that, Marco? I'm going to share my entire screen. Oh, it's not letting me do it. I don't know why. If you can figure it out, Marco, I want to pull rotating curriculum from the Boston files. Do you have that one? See if you can find that, because I'm looking at it, but I'm not sure how to share my screen. I've never done this here, but I want to do it for you. Image file, video file, share, slides in PDF. You have no slides or PDF. From my computer, upload a file. Bear with me, okay, folks? Okay, I just loaded it up, Marco. So my commitment to understanding that it is our curriculum that is the bread and butter of what we do. It is the Mickey Mouse, right? As it was to Disney. It is what the iPhone is to Apple, right? It is what the Nike tennis shoe is to Nike. Your curriculum is so important. And the fact that people will just simply dismiss it and tell me that, well, I teach what my teacher taught me and his teacher taught him and his teacher taught him. Okay, you can live with that complacency, or you could recognize that if we are to remain relevant and we're going to compete at a high level, we are constantly going deeper on our curriculum, not abandoning our art, going deeper on it and bettering that curriculum in every shape, way, and form. We all agree? Put it in the comments. And if you're here, let us know that you're here, okay? That way we can make sure that you get the gift today of my e-learning product on rotating curriculum. All right, you got it there, Marco? Okay, so just take me to, I want to start with this slide. That was a good one. Okay, so stats offers an honest assessment if your curriculum is working. So ask yourself, how many students do you get per month? Now, the industry standard is we should be netting 10, right? So you get the new ones, the ones that quit. Your net students each month should average about 10, right? Big school, small school. If you're doing the right marketing, the right community events, the right referral programs internally, consistently, then you should be doing about a net 10. And what is your annual growth rate, right? I mean, if you're still stuck at 100 students year in and year out, you're not growing. You're getting 10, you're losing 10. And that's where we're at right now. We plateaued at about 480 per location, and we're going up and down, up and down. And before the pandemic, we were closer to 600, and we're still not back to that. So we went at it this year hard. We overhauled the entire curriculum from white to black. Yes, we did. Because I used to have this mindset that it's roughly 3 to 8 moves a student can comprehend in a 40-minute period. It's now 3 to 4. And I think it's with the advent of social media and devices and the habits people formed during the pandemic. It's so normal for a kid to have his face buried into a cell phone or a device, and it's actually shortening their attention span. Look at a reel, look at a TikTok video. It's now getting shorter and shorter and shorter. I remember when a reel was 30 seconds. I remember when a Facebook reel was 30 seconds. It's now 15 seconds is more encouraged and acceptable because people's attention span is even shorter. I've witnessed it myself. This is me the other day. The TV is on as white noise, no volume. I'm sitting on my computer working, and then I'm trading on my phone. I went, holy Christmas. How do we end up in that space? So I can't imagine how much more impactful it is on the young developing mind that's influenced greatly, right? So children are learning much, much different. So I've modified that from 3 to 8 moves down to 3 to 4 moves. Write that down. That's going to be the discipline I want you to live by when you're cultivating curriculum, okay? For rotating curriculum, because it's going to be vital, very, very vital. And think in 1 year. I know again, I can put a 12-month student with a 9-month student, not much different. 6-month student with a 12-month student, not much different. But I would never put a month 1 student with a year 4 student. That is just too far. You can't rotate that curriculum. Now, as we're wrapping up our new revision from white to black, we're looking at, literally black belt through 4th degree. Can we create this 8-year program, right? Because it's 2 years to every degree. Can we create some type of program where I could have black belts, at least black belts, 1st degree and 2nd degree in the same group? And then we can do 3rd degree, 4th degree, 5th degree. I think so. I really, really think so. And that's going to be our goal next, right? Because now in our black belt classes, we rotate or we have to overstaff it because we have black belts doing one thing, 1st degree doing another, 3rd degree doing another, and it requires 3 instructors. So it's obsolete and it doesn't work. It simply doesn't work for us. And we won't even mention payroll, how your payroll is going to balloon when you have to have 3 instructors on all the time, high-level instructors. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So that's the other advantage of that. What is the number of techniques per stripe? The main difference in the overall is the number of techniques per stripe. Conrad, it is. It is. It is. And the way we think about it, our step-by-step process of instruction has changed tremendously. We introduce the technique, we teach the technique, we drill the technique. That's our whole platform, right? For week 1, which is Learn Week. Week 2, we review the technique, we drill the technique, we perform the technique. And the performance is how they earn their stripe. So that methodology requires us to fill in the blanks. Instruct. What are the methods we use? The instructor demonstrates the move, gets people excited. What's the next thing he does? Do we use the mirror? Do we use it, on each other in a practical environment? There's a step-by-step methodology. But again, Conrad, it'll vary based upon what you're teaching, right? What you're teaching. I tell people who do jujitsu, it's really practical application. I through the pandemic trying to work with jujitsu guys, they were so flustered using, couch cushions and laundry bags filled with clothes to try to mimic an opponent. It was hard, really, really hard. So in an art like jujitsu, to me, it's about the first move, grab the lapel. Okay, practice that on each other. Next move, right? Grab the sleeve, practice it together. Next move, grab the lapel, grab the sleeve, practice it together. Without that practical application, you cannot stand there in front of a mirror and go, grab the lapel, grab the sleeve, step behind the guy, take him down. None of that is going to happen. That needs to be step 1, physically apply it. Step 2. But see, that would work for jujitsu. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I hope it does. Now, what's going to help up your annual growth rate is if 90% of your students are always ready to graduate. Some people take pride. I flunked half the class. You shouldn't be proud of that. That means you're a terrible teacher. You should be preparing your students for success, not watering down your curriculum, preparing them for success by doing the hard work. Doing the hard work. I spent this whole year recording every curriculum video, and that's a lot. That's like 76 videos I had to do, right? And this is our fourth incarnation, you guys. But I'm very mindful that now that I have my own camera equipment, we can test the strap for 2 weeks. They tell me it sucks. It needs to change ABC. We go back, we put a different number system. We do it with a different pad, and then we won't do it for another year, right? Because we're on a year's worth of rotating curriculum. But needless to say, we are now in a constant state of flux. We are always flowing. Everything we can better. I have to go back and reshoot some of the stuff from January through April because there's certain things that are obsolete now that we went through the cycle. How cool is that? Because what it all centers around is the user experience. I want my students to be successful, my team to be successful. If I can produce those two things and the parents get a clear path of advancement and progress and what their kids learning, rich in life skills, I have freedom. And that's what I experienced today, you know? So that for me is really important. Breaking down and organizing is not watering down. Yeah, thank you, Conrad. But, of course, our forms have numbers and, because of the pandemic, which really inspired me to want to reshoot this curriculum videos, I play to the camera. I know how to angle, because, think of forms. Japanese use an H, right? Kenpo, we use all four corners, 360 degrees. Your back is constantly to the camera in certain parts of a form. Now we play strictly to the camera. And now that it's mirrored, we flip it, right? So all of that has changed. And I hadn't shot videos, since before the pandemic. My curriculum videos are woo. Now that I remember the last time I shot videos, I'm using my left hand calling out right. It was horrible. But now my confidence to do these videos, night and day, night and day, night and day. And then, of course, be honest, rate your students on a scale of 1 to 5. That's it, right? And if your school isn't growing at about 50 to 100 students a year, then your curriculum doesn't rock. If it does rock. But changes are always needed to be made. And I can't express that enough. So this you can go over, I'm really passionate about looking at my school like a fine restaurant. The food is the curriculum, the staff is the team, service is how we deliver it, and ambiance. Those 4 key elements should be addressed all the time in your school, right? Could I save money on not having a janitorial service 7 days a week? That does not help the ambiance. It's real important, right? We just changed all the lighting in Millbury to LED ambiance. Everything's about constant improvement. If I know Starbucks remodels every 5 years, we should be doing the same all the time. Now, and just to really quickly, I'm going to go over this, but I want you to really, where you have a chance, take this one sheet, sit down with a cup of tea or coffee, and reflect. Innovate your art, not abandon it. Focus on learning and comprehension, not memorization. And in Kenpo, we'd have 1,000 moves just from one belt to the next. And it was all memorization. There was no proficiency. And proficiency is rooted in learning and comprehension. Challenging, fun, empowering, and progressive. Absolutely. It must be age and skill level appropriate. Now, that was the big one, because when I started in Kenpo, kids didn't train, right? And we had 3 forms at white belt. One of those forms, or katas, or dances, is called Iron Fan. It now sits up in year 4. That's how hard this form was, because there was no progression, right? When they created martial arts, it was just random. There was never like, let's progress from here to here to here. There was never rotating curriculum. There wasn't never the pandemic. There wasn't, devices and video games and all these other things impacting kids. So it was taught very free form, and it was acceptable because people trained 6 days a week, 6 hours a day. It was normal, right? So we have to be mindful of that. Age and skill level appropriate. Clear and achievable goals. Again, you walk into our school this week, it says up on the wall, green stripe 3, learn week. No problem. My kid's not earning a stripe. Instructor says, no, ma'am, this week is learn week. Well, they still haven't earned a stripe. Well, ma'am, looking at their belt, I see yellow stripe and orange stripe. Those are the first 2 new stripes in the cycle. Your child is right on track. Oh, well, okay. See, so those kind of conversations is how I storyboarded that, and you should too. I want to empower my team. The worst thing you could do when the parent is in an emotional state and thinking their child is not progressing is to tell them, well, let me talk to professor. That is the worst conversation. So again, in designing this rotating curriculum, I also designed it where everybody could communicate well. They could visually see belts and know where kids are progressing, and we're paperless belt testing, right? Because we have no belt testing fees. So all we need to do is look at a kid's stride, his belt, and we could tell you where he is in the 3-month cycle. We can tell you where he is in belt testing. Because when we belt test, when we finish a stripe, we sign it with a Sharpie. So we're totally paperless. And I'm very proud of that because we're administering curriculum to what? 85, 850 out of 1,000 students. There's a lot going on there. And the one we're working on heavy, when you're designing curriculum, we're working on it so heavy. Your intro has to be amazing so they convert from a trial to a regular student. Your first month, right now, we're writing out the 90-day student experience. Every class, because we know our highest attrition rate is 0 to 3 months. It's always been that way. People say, oh, forget it. It's always going to be that way. I say, no. We're going to continue to address it, to work on it, and improve that. And it needs to be down to the micro level. Now, do I want to say it's minute by minute of every class? Because think, if they're coming to 8 classes a month, they're twice a week students. That's 24 classes in 90 days. Put it on a piece of paper, write out the entire experience, class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. So you can connect the dots and tell a story that by the end of 3 months, all they want to do is be there at your school. That's all they want to do. And I know that's a lot of work and there's no dopamine dump. And that's why I think you don't work on this because, hey, man, I signed up a new student. Woo! Right? I get that dopamine dump. But when you're sitting there painstakingly in Starbucks like I do and spend 3 hours on writing curriculum that may or may not work, right? When the day's done, that may or may not get more students. It might actually lose students. That's a huge risk, right? But you need to do this more than anything. I can't express that. Conrad, I get that people are often resistant to change and think we should stick to the old ways, but honestly, what we call traditional today was once just a new idea about. Yeah. Are you sharing your 90-day plan? Not in this presentation because this was done before. We're in the middle of it, but once I'm done with it, I'm definitely going to do a podcast on it or turn it into an e-learning product or something. I may present it at its time coming up because I'm just so into it. I get it. That's what Disney did. So I'm very big on storyboarding. That's when, like a comic strip, you lay it out, right? So you can see it. If I can see it, I can be it. And we've really nailed down our intro. We still need to do better. And that's in the consistency of training the team on it. So they're mindful of the key points that go into our trial, such as we teach attention. And we tell them attention means confidence. Confidence means to believe in yourself. And then we tell them you already learned martial arts. And they look at you like, what? Because think about it. Who's the bully going to pick on? You, who stands up tall with confidence that believes in themselves, or a child who walks around like this with his head down? It's a no-brainer. And they answer that one clearly. So that already dispels the myth that we teach violence, right? Because we already taught them self-defense without raising a fist or kicking somebody. But what really drives that one home, Conrad, is when I look at the parent, and any of my team will say to that parent, let me back up 2 steps. Then I look at the child and I say, so when you walk into Stanford for the interview for the full scholarship, can you please stand tall like this with confidence? And of course, the kid looks at you like, I have no idea what the heck you're talking about. Then we look at the parent and we say, and this is why parents view us as an investment for their child's personal development and growth. Boom. And that's really what we promote at One Martial Arts. We're an investment. We don't use the word membership. We don't use the word your contract, your plan, none of it. We say your tuition investment. And that's culturally what we do. No different than Chick-fil-A says, it's my pleasure, right? We culturally use that. But do I have to constantly train my team and remind them of it? Yep, we do. But it's in our website. It's in our hard copy handouts you get when you come into the school. But if the team's not singing the same song, it creates distrust. Trust is the consistency of everybody saying the same thing. Nike would never say, let's try. No, Nike is always just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Same thing here. So that's a prime example. So we're always working on this, Conrad, and I will share it with you once it's done. Cool. Divide each cycle into 3 months. Now, the 3 month thing came in rotating curriculum because it made sense with the school district. Our belt system is in line with the school system. Yeah. Makes sense? So January, February, March, 6 stripes. 1 stripe every 2 weeks, learn week, earn week, right? And I think I have that here. Let me see if I want to see that. All right. So down on here, instruct about consider breaking a tip down into 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks, right? Here, I'm going to jump around just for a minute, but I'm going to come back to that because I'm here. All right. So this we give to our parents how to progress. And this is real important because if a parent can have a clear expectation of what to expect from you, everything changes. The challenge is they don't. They have no idea, what a technique or a kick versus a punch versus, they have no idea. And if you don't make it clear on how their child's going to benefit and grow with you and progress, then they have no measurable way to account you. You with me? So attend classes regularly. Schedule makeup classes as needed. Practice with instructional videos via the app. A stripe is earned in a 2-week cycle. Week 1 is learning week. Week 2 is earning week. Earn a total of 6 stripes over a 3-month cycle. Review, make up any missing stripes, and test for your next belt in month 4 of a cycle. Earn a new belt every 4 months. It can't be any more clear than that. And parents get this when they sign up. They get it in an email. It's explained to them verbally. So they're very clear. We point up to the board. You'll see Learn Week or Earn Week up there. So it's communicated because if I can have a culture rich in curriculum, then they know the value that it brings. But anytime we say the parent needs to understand, we failed. Yeah, we must understand. Cool. Hey, I see people sitting up there in the cloud. If you're here, please check in, put in your name, the name of your school, and then you will earn my e-learning product that'll take you through a whole month. And it's through my It's Time group mentoring with me and Marco and Jason and Monique. It's a very great e-learning product, Rotating Curriculum 8.0, but I need to know that you're here, right? I need to know that you're here today. So that's pretty clear, right? So what somebody said is you spend a whole month on a review, makeup, stripes, and testing. Nay, nay. In the words of John Panette, nay, nay, right? Because you have 8 classes in a given month. One of those weeks is spring break. B-Day is sparring. So if I look at it realistically, in April, we have 3 days, 3 45-minute sessions to review 6 stripes, sign them off, and award belts at the end of class. So please be mindful of that. The next one is in August. Kids have last-minute vacations. It's back to school, right? So you don't get a full month. And let's not even talk about December. We're closed for a week. So when people wrinkle their nose at me and say, man, you do a whole month of review, makeup, stripe, and testing? No, we do not. Really think about that. But again, the fact that it's in line with the school system, people's vacations, back to school, holidays, it's all worked in with that by design. By design. You with me? Okay. So now, that's what I shared in the beginning, right? Yellow, orange, and purple. Now with rotating, year 1 is easy, year 2 is challenging, year 3 is hard. That I think was the huge mindset shift that got me going the way I needed to go. So here we are. Roland Osborne taught me this. I want you to use this sheet, which you'll get with the e-learning product, and I want you to lay out your curriculum from white to black. The way this is set up, let's just look at year 1, upper corner here of the box. Can everyone see my little arrow, Marco? Everyone can see my arrow? Yes. Tell me they are, Marco. So this here is yellow stripe 1. The next 2 weeks, orange stripe 2. The next 2 weeks, green stripe 3. The next stripes, blue stripe 4. The next one, red stripe 5. The next one, brown stripe 6. Cool? So that is 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. That is a 3-month cycle right there. So when you lay out your curriculum from, white to black, do reverse engineering. Tell me what you want a black belt to know. How many forms? How many self-defense techniques? What life skills? What fitness? What sparring? What breaking techniques if you're Taekwondo, right? Lay it out. Now, for us, what I saw right away, year 4 was way kata heavy. Year 3 was way sparring heavy. Year 2 was way self-defense heavy. Year 1 was way basic heavy. Now, year 1, yeah, it should be basic heavy, right? We know that. But I want to make sure whether it's year 1, year 2, year 3, or 4, or in any given 6 stripes, it's very balanced. I would love to see yellow stripe 1, and you'll see, I'm going to show you my curriculum. You'll see that is year 1 is what? There is what happened here? Sorry, Marco. There you go. So here, yellow stripe 1, there's a block. In the next 4-month cycle here, yellow stripe 7, there's a block, right? Here, in stripes 13 through 18, yellow stripe 13, there's a block. So creating this really balanced curriculum. Now stay with me on this. So when we're training our team, what are we training on? 2 weeks ahead of any stripe. So year 1, we're training the team in block. Year 2, we're training the team a blocking set. Year 3, we're training the team on that yellow stripe. Maybe the blocking set has a kick. Year 4, it's blocking with some practical application. The point I'm making is we're not jumping from a block to a self-defense technique to Okada. Everything systematically builds upon itself so the team is more empowered when they're teaching any one of those yellow stripes to any one of those years in a 2-week cycle. And you see how that is? We're really only reviewing 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes. We're not trying to review all of this curriculum because people are not on rotating. They could be anywhere in that curriculum. Are you with me? Everybody with me on that? Put your questions, put your thoughts, put your comments. Because I know when we get done with this, you're going to have a million questions. As you dive into this e-learning product, you're going to have a million questions. Connect with me, connect with Marco, Jason, any of us at the It's Time Group Mentoring, and we'll answer any of your questions when it comes to rotating curriculum. Cool? Take a deep breath. You're okay. You're okay. And if you're coming aboard and you're here, if you want my e-learning product on rotating curriculum, please put in your name and the name of your school. Hey, Virginia, Journey Martial Arts. Yeah, rotating curriculum is beautiful. It is really beautiful. And again, it only took me 40 years to open up my fixed mindset. But once Roland gave it to me, I was totally just in love with it. And like I said, this is 8.0, right? Yeah. So, I mean, when you can lay it out, Tina, from white to black on one sheet, and you can look at it like this, you'll see the holes. And again, like I said, year 4 was way form heavy. Year 3 was way, sparring heavy. One guy, his year 2 was way weapons heavy. I say, if I want to improve my retention, put a weapon in year 1, put a weapon in year 2, put a weapon in year 3, put a weapon in year 4. Right? Even sparring. They may not be sparring in year 1 now, but there's sparring techniques. They can spar in year 2, 3, and 4. They're eligible for it. But again, creating a balanced curriculum of learning is important. You know where this was really relevant, Virginia? You know how we do phase 1, 2, 3? Well, look at it. I mean, phase 1, 2, 3 sits here, right? Year 1, red and brown, red and brown, red and brown. But if we think about it, even though they're very similar, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, that this red and brown stripe, once they finish it, they're not going to see a variation of that red and brown for what? 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes, plus the month of makeup, reviewing, and testing. So you're talking roughly 6 weeks they haven't seen phase 1. So when they hop into phase 2 here, red and brown, some of it's relatively brand new. And that was the big thing. Someone said, well, I notice your beginning katas are very repetitive. Yeah, but they don't see it for 6 weeks at a time. So it's, no, actually 2 months. Oh my God, 2 whole months. If I think about that. So it's totally fine. And that took a lot of eye-opening, right, to do that. I think the hardest part for a lot of us, including me, is wrapping my head around the fact that I don't need to teach 1,000 moves to show everybody I'm cool and I'm this, wealth of knowledge. The real art, and you'll see it in my new curriculum grids, we have one technique. Yeah, the guys said, hey, man, I want to, we have to teach one technique to this white belt, one block. I'm going, okay, then we have to come up with 10 different drills so this white belt doesn't believe they're doing the same in block for 40 minutes. And that was really the art of it. If you can disguise the repetition where they feel like they aren't doing the same move for 40 minutes, it's a good day. But old school, what did we do? Sit in front of a freaking mirror and drill the same technique over and over and over, kicking and punching dead air. So, little side note, write this down. CAPS, KAPS. All right? Let's say it's a front kick. All right? The first step is knowledge. What is a drill you can create for knowledge of a front kick? Yeah, that's cool. I like that, Virginia. I added a thing into my rotating curriculum where level 3 reviews and retests on the corresponding level 1 curriculum stripe. Sure. And level 4 does the same with level 2. It really helps empower people as they approach the black belt prep phase. We call it the black belt pathway. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's a beautiful thing about rotating curriculum. It opens up the doors to a lot of creative thinking that was never there before because everything was very rigid. And this is the way my teacher taught me and his teacher taught them. There was no room for creativity whatsoever, right? You agree? Whatsoever. So I think going back to that for a moment, looking at this one, ABC, right? Yellow belt, orange belt, purple belt. ABC. I say nay, nay. How about CAB or BCA? Because the order you learn the alphabet in doesn't matter when the practical use is to make words, sentences, paragraphs. Same thing here. Like I shared, we had a kata that was in year 1 called Iron Fan. It now sits up in year 4. So I simply took A and put it where Z was in the alphabet. That's all. Because my goal is to storyboard and create the student experience that improves my retention, right? And it makes better martial artists. That's all. That's it. So again, once you can wrap your head around that, not a big deal, right? So let me see if I can find that slide. That one's important. So my strategy, right? We talked about laying out the grid on the Excel spreadsheet, make it fit on one sheet so you can see it, balance each 3-month cycle with basics, fitness, sparring forms. I think that was really it, creating that balance, mainly when you're teaching, right? When the guy's trying to teach and he has 4 different stripes, one from each level or year, and they're all a different type of block, it's a wonderful thing. If it's all a kick, where it's a front kick, round kick, back kick, spinning hook kick, it's wonderful because there's a continuity there. And of course, I've changed this one. Consider chunking every tip into 3 to 4 moves. Yeah, I know. But after the pandemic, we're witnessing that. Too much device time, short attention spans. 8 moves, they have to follow you completely in order to earn that stripe, right? Because they can't memorize that. They can't. Consider rotating break chunks into 2 weeks instead of 4 or 5. Many schools out there are still doing a 4 to 5 week strike. I don't recommend that, especially in 0 to 3 months. So roughly, stay with me now, value, right? I give you $269 of value a month, of payment a month. You give me $500 worth of value. I am happy. So Conrad, for you for a moment, let's go double back to that. From the time they become a lead through market muscles or through Kin Creative, right? We nurture that through storytelling to get them through the door. Once they're in the door, there's a sign, their name is on it. They have a t-shirt with their name on it, and there's a handout. I'm doing a video so they know when you walk into the school, because we have no front desk people. Remember that. No program director. That'll direct them. When you come into the school, you'll see right here, there'll be an acrylic frame with your name on it. Take the t-shirt, take the handout, go ahead and look at it. And while you're at it, take a look at our coloring wall or take a look at, several focal points in the school, and we'll be right with you in between classes. That's culturally where we're at. iPads, everything. There's no paper. There's no paper involved in anything that we do, right? So everything's done through an app. They book the trial through the app. They go back in and purchase a membership through the app. They watch the videos through the app. They sign up for a special event through the app. It's all app-based now, right? Our technology has changed tremendously in our business. And we don't think we're compromising service, because what are they paying us for? Martial arts instruction on the mat. We're truly almost in that state where, all the different ad agencies and software companies preach, you get to do what you want to do, which is teach. And I've always heard that. And I thought it's really attractive, right, to sell a product. But if we can really cultivate that, then you're going to empower your people to a whole new level. Cool. So 3 to 4 moves. No more of this tip 2 weeks. Because as I shared, going back to that. So Conrad, they're in the school, right? So the end of the trial, they have a t-shirt. They have a student parent discovery sheet for the life skill. They would have broken a board. They would have earned a badge. Wow. That's a lot to walk out with, right? They sign up and when they leave, they're going to get a "You Did Awesome" postcard for attending the trial. Now you sign up. You get a free uniform. There's a sign in the uniform bag saying welcome. You're going to get a welcome postcard. Boom. And hopefully that first class you attend after the trial, you earn your yellow stripe. Within a month, we're going to invite you to one of our events, Buddy Day, Parents Night Out, Dodgeball Night, something. You're going to earn 2 more life skills badges, and you would have earned 2 stripes on your belt. That's a lot of value for 1 month. It's a lot of value. And if it was your birthday month, guess what? You're going to get a postcard saying happy birthday. Man, that's too much, right? But we're very big on that. We're very big on mail because kids don't get mail. We're very big on those types of different milestones right away, so parents get in sync with the value of what we offer. Now we got to do better in month 2 and 3. That's where we fall off tremendously. But we're working on it, and I'll share that with you when it's done. Cool? And then, of course, the chunking, that to me is what changed everything. Everything. 8 moves was like, man, spoon feeding someone whose belly is full was crazy, right? Every tip or stripe should be written out, and that painstaking discipline of writing it out gave me a better verbal language when I produced the videos. Because you don't want your guys to teach and sing a different song. You want to even give your team verbal cues to use when teaching a technique, right? Such as load in, load in. Nobody's going to say chamber the block and execute an in block. No, no, no. We say load in. Load in. Everybody sings the same song. So those verbal cues become very, very important. Good. And then every video should be on it. Every stripe should be on an instructional video. I'm not talking about a demo video. You're 15 feet away doing a poomsae with no microphone on you. It's loud and echoey, terrible lighting, and your back is to the camera. No way. It's been taught in class. This is review. We're reinforcing the sticking points. It is an instructional video, and that to me is one of the biggest misses I see in our industry. Someone goes, yeah, I have instructional videos. I say, no, you have demo videos. What do you mean? There you go, right? There you go, there you go. And as you can see by this doc, I'm extremely, extremely passionate, about my curriculum. I'm so passionate about it. We can take them out of this, Marco. Remove from studio. There you go. So I'm very passionate because I recognize that is the core product we deliver. And I'm not going to call you out, but if you're not reviewing your curriculum on a yearly basis, if you're not updating it, and I don't mean changing it, maybe teach your team to hold a pad differently, right? And what it's all centered around? CAPS. So let's review that again. We took care of K, which is knowledge. Introduce the technique, right? Teach the technique, drill the technique. Okay, great. A, accuracy. Okay, use a small hand target for accuracy. Great, wonderful. Power, duh. Use the Wave Master bag. Speed, hold the hand target, use a noodle, hit their hand if they don't read chamber, right? So now they have to do speed. Now using a pull noodle. So I'm saying if you use that acronym of CAPS, you could probably develop tons of drills under power, under speed, under accuracy, and under knowledge. That should be your template for cultivating these drills. Because I kid you not, if you look at the new curriculum we have, Virginia, you'll be like, what? You teach an in block? Yeah, it's a year 1 student. And The reason we're trying to bridge that gap, Virginia, is I have white belts who are going to be now. We used to do a standalone white belt class, but the guys have been preaching to me for years, and I'm finally going to give in to this, which I don't think is giving in. It may work really well. When this white belt earns a yellow belt, I was really proud. This white belt had a standalone white belt class. Work at your own pace. You're nurtured. No, no, no. White belt is going to now go on Learn and Earn Week. So the staff can be trained better, and they're moving in some type of time accordance with level 1. Because when they earn their yellow belt, guess what? They stay in the same class. Yep, same class time. We started to look at our numbers, and just the fact that I'm a yellow belt, I have to move to another class time. Well, I got soccer. I have to move to a different day. Sorry, Kumon. So if they had to weigh apples and oranges, they're going to quit you first because you inconvenience them. So again, we think we're going to improve our retention by that white belt being able to stay in the same class for a year. That's pretty cool. I mean, and when TJ presented it that way to me, I said, okay, that might have some legs. But what did that require, Virginia? We had to simplify year 1 curriculum. That's it. That's it, right? We had to simplify year 1 curriculum. The acronym opens new ideas and drills. Yeah, good. Yep, CAPS. Right? Because when we used to get promoted, my dad would do a symbol of a cross. This is for your knowledge, your power, your speed, and your accuracy. And he made us kneel, and he would do it like you're being knighted or something. And I understand the value of it, though, what it means and how we can use that, foundationally, just so the guys don't go awry. And I walk in one day and it looks like mousetrap in my school, and pads and bags and everything's are all which way all over the place. And this kid's running through it like it's mousetrap. Right? So we don't want that to happen. But by giving them structure, they're more empowered. They're just more empowered. And so, yeah, use the CAPS acronym. It'll make a huge difference in everything that you do. Cool? All right. Let's open the floor to questions, and do put the questions in. It's a little bit delayed, so I'm going to cover a little bit of housekeeping, okay? So what do we have coming up? It's Time Live Freedom, and this one's different. I have Adam because Adam's given me freedom with the support of his digital media. We have Sam because Sam provides me with the freedom I experience in my net worth. I have my team, though. All right, we're not having Dave Kovar this year. My team, who provides me the most freedom on a day-to-day basis because they teach, they are going to serve up the instructors training we have from 3 to 6. I'll be there too with my 2 cents and an overview, but I'm going to really put it into their hands. Right? And let that happen. And then, of course, my It's Time group mentoring team will be there on Sunday. Again, they provide me with freedom. I used to do all of my own mentoring. I don't do that anymore. I show up once a month, and it's a much different experience. So I decided to run with my team because the freedom I experience today is because of the team I've cultivated. If it wasn't for my team, I know you're getting married. Conrad. We've been weaving beginners into our cycle material for years. We belt them differently if they come in halfway through the cycle. Good. I mean, there's a million ways to do it, and there's no one way that's right or wrong. All I'm asking is, are you getting the results you want? Are your numbers growing to the level to produce your version of success and freedom? That's all that is, right? But if you got 40 students and you're telling me your way works, then that must be your version of success. That's all I say to that. I mean, we can argue all day long, my Eagle Claw is better than your Tiger Kung Fu. What a waste of time. All I would challenge anybody here today is, are you getting the results you want, not only in the performance of the student, but if you are a martial arts business, are you getting the return and results that you want financially? And if you're not, then you got to look at it. And it's not watering down, it's bettering the curriculum. So really take a long, hard look at that, okay? I want you to, because I can't tell you how much resistance I get even in the Kenpo world. Wow, you're watering it down. You're at ABC. You're just all about the money. You can come in on Thursday night and spar with any of my guys. If that's what this is all about, can my guys fight? That's so stupid. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Someone said, well, that's not how we did it at your dad's. Well, okay. This is how we do it here. If you don't want to be here, go somewhere else, right? But I do believe we still need to produce great martial artists. That's an important part. But don't expect them to be you. training 6 days a week, 6 hours a day, tournaments every other weekend. That was my life from about the age 8 until 20. That was my life. That's what I did, right? So again, not everybody's built like me. And like Michael J. Fox said, if someone doesn't learn the way you teach the way they learn. Why not? Freedom. You got to be there. Put in the link for that, Marco. If you enter the code FREEDOM, you get $199 off the 4-day experience. You know, each year, I shared it at the top of the broadcast. I think what makes this really unique, it's cohesive learning. I go to these 2-day events. You got 10 different speakers from 10 different walks of life. They have 10 different ideas on how to be successful. It really messes up my head. I go back, I'm overwhelmed. I do nothing with that material. But if imagine each seminar presented builds upon each other. They had a common theme and it all connected the dots. That's what I think makes its time very unique and why the 4-day experience is something extremely, extremely, at a high level of learning and of benefit to everybody that attends. Cool? So think about that, okay? Get signed up now for It's Time Life Freedom. But if not, the 1-day, 2-day is there. Will it be virtual? No. I stopped doing that a couple years ago. It allows me to be freer in my thinking, my talking. You know me, sometimes I like to curse and it comes out without me thinking. But sometimes when I'm cursing, I'm at the highest level. I know it's weird, right? And when I had read this study, it was back in the days of another guy who said that intelligent people curse. Well, I say a liar, you have lack of discipline. There's a lot of studies out there that say people who curse are more authentic and honest. So long story short, when I'm under the guise of a camera and everyone's watching me, I sometimes have to hold back. I want to give you everything. And this allows me to do that. So there's no recording. There'll be no virtual anything on this at all. This 4 days is about you, about you, about you. Only 20 of you, but it's about you. Cool? All right, man. Let's wrap this up, Marco. Where can everybody find me? You can find me at social media, of course. This podcast is on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all the rest. You can subscribe to, I did say YouTube, right? Follow me at Instagram. For everything else, go to BrannonBeliso.com. So the people who chose to be here today, I applaud you because you will get my e-learning product on rotating curriculum. Please don't be one of those people who come at me after and say, I missed it. I'm sorry. Can you please send it to me? It's lame. Your mindset needs to change. I'm going to challenge you on that right now. When someone said to me, well, I need to make more time. You cannot make more time. Time doesn't care what you do. Every second becomes 60 seconds, becomes 5 minutes, becomes an hour, becomes a day, becomes a week, becomes a month, becomes a year. It doesn't care whether you exist or not. Times are going to do what time does. You cannot buy time. You cannot make time. You develop a new disciplined habit and you replace it with an old habit. And if you sit in front of that TV watching any kind of TV, replace it with work, replace it with learning, right? Think about that. There's that great book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Read it. You need to change that mindset because it's such a victim mindset. I need to make more time. No, you don't. You can't do that. Impossible. It's like me at 5'3" saying I need to be 6 foot tall. It's never going to happen at 63. It'll never happen. No, it'll never happen. It didn't happen at 18. So I'm mindful of that. And I'm really challenged because you say you want to be successful. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you're not willing to change habits. You're not willing to do the real work, the kind of work it takes, right? So if you are not experiencing your version of success, you are not at the level of success you want, then you need to change. Old thinking, old results. New thinking, new results. So I want to see it. It's Time Life Freedom. Cool? All right. Thank you, Marco, for holding down the back end of this craziness. I am Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, you go out there, live your best life.